Ever tried making pizza at home only to end up with a soggy, disappointing mess? Or perhaps you've got a favorite pizza place and you're wondering how they achieve that crispy, fluffy crust? Welcome to the beginning of our pizza quest, a journey where we'll unlock the secrets to a perfect, authentic Italian pizza dough, a quest that will turn your kitchen into your very own pizzeria. Well, wonder no more. Today, you'll learn how to craft the perfect pizza dough right in your own kitchen. The beauty of pizza dough lies in its simplicity. It's all about quality, not quantity. Let's delve into the 4 key players that make up this symphony of flavor and texture. First up, we have flour. It's the backbone of our dough. The type of flour you choose can make or break your pizza. For an authentic Italian pizza, we recommend using Tipo 00 flour. It's finely ground and high in gluten, which gives our dough that desirable elasticity. Moving on, we have water, the unsung hero. It may seem plain, but it's the secret ingredient that brings everything together. The temperature of the water can affect the yeast's activity, so aim for lukewarm, not too hot, not too cold. Next on our list is yeast, the magical microorganism that makes our dough rise. Fresh yeast is the traditional choice, but dry yeast is more accessible and works just as well. Remember, yeast is a living thing. Treat it with care, and it will reward you with a beautifully risen dough. Finally, we have salt. It might seem insignificant, but it's crucial for flavor. It enhances the taste of the other ingredients and controls the yeast's activity, keeping it from going wild. And there you have it, the 4 simple yet crucial ingredients of our pizza dough: flour, water, yeast, and salt. Each one has its role, its importance, and its charm. With these 4 simple ingredients, you're already halfway to pizza heaven. Now that we've got our ingredients ready, it's time to roll up our sleeves and get our hands dirty. In the grand symphony of pizza making, this phase, dear friends, is the overture. It's where the magic truly begins. And the magic word for this part of the process is mixing. So let's get started. First, we'll take our carefully measured flour and pour it into a large mixing bowl. But we won't just dump it in. No, we'll create a small well in the center, a little floury crater. This is where we'll pour our water and yeast mixture. Slowly, ever so gently, we'll incorporate the flour into the liquid, stirring in a circular motion. Now, some of you might be tempted to use a mixer for this part, but let me tell you, nothing beats the tactile pleasure of mixing the dough by hand. It connects you to the process, a link to the countless cooks who've made pizza before us. Once the dough starts to form, it's time for the next step: kneading. Kneading is not just about mixing the ingredients more thoroughly. It's a technique that helps develop the gluten in the flour, giving our pizza its distinctive chewy texture. How to knead, you ask? Well, it's a push, fold, turn routine. Push the dough with the heel of your hand, fold it over, then give it a quarter turn and repeat. It's a bit of a workout, but think of the wonderful pizza waiting at the end of it. But here's the catch. Kneading is a game of patience. It might take 10 to 15 minutes until the dough is smooth and elastic, a little like a soft baby's skin. But remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a good pizza dough. So there you have it, the first part of our pizza making process. It might seem a little laborious, but believe me, it's worth every minute. Remember, pizza dough isn't a rush job. It needs time and care. And next, we'll move on to the second part of the process. Until then, let your dough rest and dream of the delicious pizza it will soon become. We've got our dough kneaded, now it's all about patience. Welcome back, friends. We're now venturing into the second half of our journey to homemade pizza perfection, the proofing stage. This is where we let our dough rise and become the light, airy base that's the hallmark of an authentic Italian pizza. Now you may ask, why is proofing so crucial? Well, it's simple. Proofing, or letting the dough rise, is a process where the yeast in the dough ferments the sugars, producing carbon dioxide and alcohol. The carbon dioxide gets trapped within the dough, creating those beautiful bubbles that give your pizza crust its unique texture. The alcohol, on the other hand, evaporates during baking, imparting that distinctive flavor we all love. So how do we go about this? First, we need a warm, draft-free spot. If your kitchen is on the cooler side, you can preheat your oven to the lowest setting, then turn it off and place your dough inside. The residual heat will be just enough to kickstart the yeast. Next, we shape the dough into a ball, place it in a bowl, and cover it with a damp cloth. This prevents the surface from drying out and forming a crust. Then we let it be, allowing it to rise until it's doubled in size. Depending on the warmth of your kitchen, this could take anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. While it may be tempting to rush this process, resist the urge. Proofing is not a step you can fast forward without sacrificing quality. The dough needs this time to develop its flavors and textures. It's like a good wine. It needs time to mature. Once the dough has risen, it's time for the most satisfying part, punching it down. This step deflates the dough and releases the carbon dioxide, making it easier to shape. Afterward, we give it another brief rest before we stretch it out and add our toppings. The wait might be a bit tedious, but trust me, it's worth it. This journey to pizza perfection is one of patience and care, and the proofing stage is no exception. So take a break, read a book, or watch some telly. Let the dough do its thing, and soon you'll be rewarded with the perfect homemade pizza. Our dough has risen, and it's time for the final stretch, quite literally. Now, the art of stretching dough is a dance between you and the dough. It's an intimate process that requires a tender touch and a keen eye. First off, lightly flour your work surface. Take the dough out of the bowl and don't forget to admire how it has doubled in size. Place it gently on the floured surface and start to press it outwards from the center, using the heel of your hands. Be delicate, as we don't want to deflate the dough, but rather redistribute the air bubbles within. As you press, rotate the dough to ensure an even stretch. This is the moment where you can decide how thick or thin you want your crust to be. Remember, if you prefer a thin crust, don't overdo the stretching. You'll want to leave some thickness in the middle for a nice even bake. Now let's talk about the importance of this step. Stretching and shaping the dough is crucial in achieving the right thickness and crust. It's what gives your pizza its character and its soul. It's the difference between a pizza that's just okay and a pizza that's truly spectacular. If you're making a traditional Italian pizza, you'll want a thin, crispy crust. But if you're more of a deep dish fan, leave a little more dough in the middle and around the edges. This will give you that fluffy, bread-like crust that's so beloved in certain styles of pizza. And remember, pizza is a personal thing. It's a canvas for your culinary creativity, so don't be afraid to experiment and find what works best for you. Maybe you prefer a thicker crust on the edges and a thinner base, or perhaps you like it the other way around. The beauty of homemade pizza is that you get to decide, and just like that, you've got a pizza base ready for your favorite toppings. This is where the magic happens, where you get to put your personal stamp on your creation. So go ahead and make it your own. Your perfect pizza is just a few steps away. So you've made it this far and you're now a budding pizzaiolo. Let's quickly recap our journey towards homemade pizza perfection. We started off with the basic ingredients: high-quality flour, water, yeast, and a dash of salt. The magic, as we learned, lies in the right proportions and the delicate mixing process. Then we moved on to the first part of the process, the kneading. Remember, it's all about patience and persistence, giving the dough the love it needs to rise to the occasion. Next was the second part of the process, shaping the dough. We learned the art of stretching it out, not rolling, to maintain the perfect crust. Finally, we reached the last stretch, the baking. Here we learned how crucial the right temperature and timing are for that perfect crispy crust and gooey cheese topping. Remember, practice makes perfect. Keep honing your skills and you'll be making pizzas that rival your favorite restaurant in no time.